What's going on, guys? Thanks for jumping in today. My name is Danny Colbert, aka Music Vidiot, and here we are in the wonderful world of Grand Theft Auto. And as you can see, Franklin was just talking to a dog. Now, I had the volume and everything turned down because I don't want to get hit for copyright stuff. There's been a lot of weird restrictions by YouTube lately, so I had that turned down. But I should be able to see that in the brief. No? That happened the other day with the Predator mission as well. Anyway, you've seen that there's a conversation with a dog, and it seems that Franklin is the only one to be able to talk to animals. Now, why is that? And we're going to go ahead and go through this mission a little bit more in a second. Maybe I'll turn up the dialogue for it. And then we'll show you guys exactly how it connects to the Chiliad mystery. And then we have to ask ourselves exactly what else it may connect to, as some of the stuff that we're doing currently is tied to this cold case as well. This is a cold case file. This is episode, well, technically episode 3, but it's, just episode 2, as the first one was a preliminary episode, if you will. Anyway, we're here in the cold case files as we do every single Sunday evening. And I'm joined with 2 other Chiliad mystery hunters and also good friends. I'm with Illuminati and KYROS Power. What's going on, guys? KYROS, how are you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good, Danny. Thanks for having me on the channel again. Always a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely, man. Always a pleasure. And Illuminati, how are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Let me turn up this dialogue here. Okay. We should be good with the dialogue. So, before we get, too much into it, let's go ahead and see what we got going on over here. We see Franklin's still talking to himself right now about this damn shit. If you guys want, you know what, it'll be best if we just go into the briefing and kind of go over what he says anyway, as I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting to kind of go over it line by line, as this is a very odd situation. There's only a few times where we have situations where Franklin talks to animals, and it seems to be this dog that reoccurs. And, we didn't know what to think at first, but then, you start to see more connections happening as the game progresses into next gen, right, and the peyotes. And that's something that is also being discussed, as actually me and Illuminati got together the other day for a video called Missing Links. And we're going to pick up with another video soon. I think maybe tomorrow might be the second one. And the reason why it's called Missing Links is because peyotes may be a bigger part of this mystery. It may be the missing link, as we know that Bigfoot could be the missing link within human evolution, right? But also within this mystery, as we can also be a playable character when we're Bigfoot with the golden peyote. And there is also talk of a second golden peyote possibly out there somewhere. As we look at the brief right now, so far the dialogue between Franklin and this dog is, this shit is getting weird now, man. Man, you wasn't wrong. Look at this fool. Hey, ugh, come on, gah. Okay, so we're starting off with basically Dom, unless I can go out. Oh, I can go out, right? Let me see here. Okay, so, and the connection is also with the wolf. If you guys remember the Bigfoot mission, the Bigfoot says woof woof, right? And Franklin's like, what the hell? And it's kind of a weird situation, and it also ties to Rockstar Past, as the character that's behind the Bigfoot mask when he takes his mask off is actually the lead protagonist from Bully. So, what exactly is going on here? We also know that it leads to Rockstar's Past with Red Dead Redemption, as well as Bigfoot's in that game, and it's basically the same exact dialogue. The conversation within RDR is the same conversation in GTA 5. And, what else is funny about that is it's played by the same voice actors. The hunter guy with the one eye, all that stuff. And I also mentioned recently how the dialogue in this game is usually matched up perfectly to what the characters are saying. But not only that, the dialogue in this game is never really off. And that mission, the last one with Bigfoot, seems to be the only time I've ever found a discrepancy between what's being said and what's on the screen subtitle-wise. So with all that being said, there's a lot of reasons to look at this mission again, and even some of the other missions where Franklin and this dog are having, you know, one-on-one or whatever. All the missions with Dom, they seem pretty relevant. And I chose this one in particular to go over, you know, and use as an example, as this is the one where we go with Dom as Franklin in the a helicopter to Mount Chiliad. And on the way, Dom says that it's not the destination, but it's the journey that matters, and that basically is a boiled down version of what the mural says in the city. And it just so happens that the mural in the city, okay, is perfectly in line with the Mount Chiliad mural. Isn't that kind of a coincidence that they're in line? So we know the geography is accurate, the geometry of it all is also accurate, and I think that that also plays a big part. So there's a lot to talk about. Guys, before we start getting too in-depth in this conversation, do you two have anything to say? As I'm trying to figure out really quick as well, as I'm speaking here, I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but I can't pull up my comments, and this was like this yesterday in the broadcast. I don't know what's going on, why I'm not able to view comments anymore on my phone. But anyone
I can go ahead and check that out for us. Illuminati, you can go ahead and take this piece away, and I'll go ahead and follow right after you.
Awesome, thank you, Kairos. I appreciate it. So, Illuminati, anything before we get much into it, or should we go and see a little bit more what's going on here with this mission? Should we wait till we get into the helicopter before you want to comment? Because you are the one that was doing the episode with me on the peyotes, and we you know, have both been working on peyotes together for these missing link videos. So you're actually one of the people that would definitely be a good person to speak to, involving the reason why this dog is the reason that Franklin can hear. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Why can Franklin hear this dog? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. I don't know, there are a lot of things that ties in with this dog that I think we'll be talking about later too, but yeah, I mean, you do know that there's dogs that show up, look just like this dog in all sorts of pictures and stuff like that. And interesting thing I think is funny about this dog is there's a dog in Skyrim that looks a lot like this dog that you can walk up to and he'll start talking to you. So
really, do you think that there's also like you know, because Rockstar always has those dualities where there's double meanings and stuff. Do you think that it's also a play on that? Do you think there could be a double meaning with that? Maybe even a Easter egg on Skyrim if it's almost the same dog in the same type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, possible. There's plenty of other Easter eggs. Why not?
I'm wondering. I gotta take a better look into that because I didn't even know about that. That's really interesting. I'm just typing in right here just to make sure if I can pull up my comments, because I hate not to involve the viewers, because these cold case files are definitely one of the episodes where I like to involve viewers on. Let me just take a look and see if I can find out here. Okay.
Yeah, for some reason I can't pull it up either. Nothing's showing up for me.
You can't pull up comments either?
No. Really weird.
I don't understand what's going on with that. That seems very odd. Well, I apologize to everybody that's watching live. If you're commenting, if you find a way how to, I'm sorry. This is very strange. Maybe there's a setting in YouTube that I maybe accidentally turned off. I don't believe so, but I'll make sure I'll check that out right after this broadcast, guys, to get that fixed. But let's go ahead and continue on with the episode. So right now, so far as we stand, we have the dog leading Franklin over to this this guy Dom. He's in the tree, and basically Franklin doesn't understand what's going on, but there's some key words in the dialogue. The dog only says woof, but Franklin seems to understand more of what the dog is really saying, as he knows to follow him and how he says there's a guy in a tree. but none of that stuff is actually documented. It's all just woof woof. And then, like I said, I do believe it's directly tied into the questions we have with the peyotes, as Bigfoot is the one that says woof woof as well in that mission, like I said. And, you know, Bigfoot is tied to one of the biggest Easter eggs so far solved in the game, and that is the Bigfoot and the Beast Easter egg, which we needed to use sound and utilize the following of the sound to find the beast and then have a fight with him. But the only way we could even begin to do that was to be able to find the golden peyote, and that golden peyote only showed up during a certain time and day with the certain weather, which is definitely interesting. That makes me believe that these other 27 locations in the game that have peyotes are definitely of some use, and not just locations for a quick fix of a let me get a little animal vibe going on. I think there's more to it than just let me run around as a cougar for 5 minutes. And I'm not talking about the sexy old ladies that want to get your grandson in the goddamn car. I'm talking about something a little bit more foolish and suspicious going on around here. So here we go. We got Dom.
Definitely.
Dom's hanging from a tree. He says, that's a cool-ass dog. Franklin says, what dog? He's like, that dog that saved your... Whoa. Basically, the dog disappeared. So was this dog an illusion? Was it all a figment of Franklin's imagination, guys? Because if it was, how was he led to an actual person? And he wasn't just led to him. He knew that he was going to find a guy hanging in a tree with a parachute. So does Franklin have godlike powers? We know that 9 is God, and we know that God spelled backwards is dog. So do you think that this is somehow played into the whole mythological aspect with all the Greek clues and all the Thor and Zeus type of shit that we have in the game? Do you think that that's all played into it? We do have lightning bolts on the mural. I've seen a lot of clues with Thor in the game. Illuminati, you brought up a Thor clue to me a minute ago. What are you guys thinking?
I think there's a lot going on here with this piece, especially with the Thor reference, and you know, so many Greek gods, and I mean, there's so many different things that they tie into this game. But Illuminati, I'll go ahead and let you take this piece here since that was yours, and then I'll go ahead and follow up on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a crazy amount of Greek references and gods in this, but you know, the fact that the dog is leading him here to Dom is one of the few people that has their own personal website in the game. I think that's kind of interesting.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, is he on the is it the Ego Chaser website?
Or
was it?
I can't remember right offhand, but it might be him. Yeah.
Because first of all, let me see if I could do that right now. Oh, I can't. I can't go into the...
Not in the mission.
Okay.
Right.
I do feel Dom is a pretty big key piece when it ties into a lot of different things. You know, when you do one mission that you end up parachuting down, and he ends up saying something about, I'll see you on the top of Maze Bank with the higher beings.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so many different alien references, and even a movie reference if you want to look at it. Independence Day. As we all know, you know, the people all the way up there, they're like, beam me up, help me, you know, another reference that they have in here.
Right.
You know, like, help us, and then they end up getting obliterated, so...
You know what's funny is...
a lot of cool references.
Illuminati just said that he has his own website, and it's kind of funny. It's almost like they're trying to show us that. Look at, right there in about the middle of the dialogue, it says, dude, how crazy was that? I was dropping like a .com stock in late 2000. So... is that a hint at maybe the Ruiner 2000, or is it a hint at the .com being like his website? I know that there's some information with stock, but we'll get to that later with Illuminati, as there's some really good information on all that. But I'm wondering at, you know, the dialogue in this mission is some of the most important dialogue I feel is in the game so far. And as we get towards Mount Chiliad, you guys, you'll see more on the screen, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the dialogue a little bit more. But I'm thinking that the whole entire reason for this dog thing, it might just be symbolic, but it also might be very accurate of what needs to happen, right? the journey. Now, on the top left a minute ago, it said press A to skip the journey. I've never seen that before in the game where it says, you know, skip the journey. This is actually the journey. And they say that it's more important than the destination. So what's going on right here? Nothing but dialogue. You know what I mean? This whole journey is dialogue. That's all we have to do right now is look at the dialogue. So, if that's what's more important than the destination, maybe that is key to understanding the answer. You know what I mean? So basically the destination is the mural. We're going right to the top of the chiliad. So if the journey is more important than the destination, then maybe these two murals on the map are, since they're both in line, I think they're two sides of the same coin anyway. Maybe we really need to start understanding the other side, basically. You know what I mean? There's stuff that's being said, and there's things that we still don't understand, like talking dogs and all these different analogies and metaphors being given to us. Look at the double helix. We had that on the new mural in the new Doomsday update. You know, there's stuff that's talking.
Number 27.
Right, exactly.
27 peyote plants.
There's tons of foreshadowing going on as well. There's so much going on here.
Well, there is kind of a duality with that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Illuminati. You first.
I was gonna say there is kind of a duality to some of that. You know, it's not how the destination, it's the journey. It's not how you played the game. It's not the fact that you beat the game, but you know how you played. I think that's an interesting part there too. And if you remember, if you remember, there is a cutscene that if you do the mission just right with Dom, he doesn't just you know, be all adrenaline junkie on you. He gets actually really angry that you beat him.
Right, I think that's the one from Maze Bank. The KYROS was talking about how he says, meet me on top of Maze Bank. Well, if you do go up there, then you have to parachute down and land on a flatbed. I believe that if you, if you land on the flatbed, or if you beat him or something, that's when he gets mad, and if you don't, it's a whole different scenario with Dom, right? Is that what you're speaking of?
Right. You got to make sure he doesn't land on it. You got to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's crazy, because how many people would ever know that? I know that there's a lot of times with the storyline, even in other GTA games like GTA 4, I'm learning as I'm playing through that right now, but that there's times where if you fail a mission or restart it halfway through, you know what I mean, you'll have a completely different conversation between the characters as they're going to whatever location or whatever's happening. So there's a lot of times where you do something differently or whatever, and you're going to get a whole different aspect of the story. So how many different stories are we understanding? Like, you know, 10 people play the game, and how, you know, out of those 10 people, who got what from the story? What variation did they get, and what did they take from that? So they say come back when your story is complete. Actually, it says it right here where we're about to jump to. So it's all tying together at this location. That's why I feel this mission is very important, and I believe it has a lot to show us when trying to understand a lot of the bigger aspects of this game, which, you know, hold the secrets to the mystery.
Did you have something you wanted to say, KYROS?
I just wanted to propose a question, and really what it was is, you know, with the first golden peyote plant, we had Bigfoot. Well, with the second peyote plant, or a possible second peyote plant, a golden one, what would we spawn into? What would we change into?
I would think a monkey. There's a monkey mosaics for some odd reason. We have the clues with the monkeys at the Humane Labs. There's actual monkey animals in the game in cages that they, you know, they made the animations for them and all that, but then there's no way to actually play as them.
Yeah. One of the animals that's actually shown that we can't play as. So
and I don't know if it was somebody that said, I wasn't sure if it was someone that said it was in the script, but there was talk of a monkey peyote at one time, and it was a big topic of conversation. And I don't know what's going on with that, if people just lost interest or if there was just not enough evidence or what. But, I mean, let me see if I can pull up this website now that I'm up here.
Yeah, I remember someone saying something about a monkey peyote being in the script, but never really being found.
Well, there were a few things that were in the script regarding the peyotes that are actually really interesting. You have the chicken with the water fountain, which apparently is a cutscene that has yet to been activated. And I feel like this is definitely something that we should be exploring. I mean, guys, if you're listening to me right now and you have a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever you have, and you can do it, just grab your controller, get on GTA 5, and start messing with the peyote plants. See what we can do. Even if you grab the chicken or anything else, try getting it to that fountain that's in the city, and see what we can do regarding that. I feel like there hasn't been too much investigation.
Yeah, that definitely deserves more investigation as well. I've been recently thinking about that. I really think that there's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about. I just typed an ego into the website, into the search bar, and this is one thing I want to point out to you guys. I know I've done it before on previous episodes, but this, maybe this isn't the Dom website, but this is the type of activities that Dom does. Okay, we just did this with Dom. We flew off the, skydived off the helicopter onto Mount Chiliad. But if you hit upcoming triathlons, if you notice, there might be a certain way to play the game. They said it's not the destination, but the journey, right? Well, look at this. There's the 3 different locations that we can do triathlons, but they're almost color-coded, and then I wonder if they're color-coded to the characters, showing us that this one might have to be done by Trevor, this one done by maybe Michael, and this one done by maybe Franklin, and I've done that before. I've done each one of those with those characters, and honestly, the clues seem to be prominent and shining while doing them with those color-coded characters. Like when I did this one right here with Michael, it seemed like he had a lot of talk to himself about midlife crisis and stuff that I normally didn't get when I did triathlons with him. And same thing as Trevor, he was almost saying stuff that I seen as a foreshadow into the game. So I'm wondering if there's clues, like even on the websites, that might be showing us what to do with who when there's multiple choices and we don't really know who to pick, or if there's a right or wrong way to do something. There might be guidelines, hidden within the game, even within the websites.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you when it comes to that. And there are so many different, like if you guys happen to just go on these websites, there are so many different clues in there and so many different interesting websites that relate to the characters in the game and certain events, and you'd be surprised what you can find just in your phone alone.
Do you know what the website was, Illuminati, for the
I'm trying to think. For Dom, I can't remember what his website is. I know he does have one though.
Here we go. Let me see if I can check.
That's interesting because I really think that would be a good one to look at as well. And I just don't
you could
know.
try.
I really wish we had that chat up. That would help out. I know someone knows.
I'm looking right now. I'm just hitting random, and there's a lot of interesting ones that are popping up. I mean, we could always take a look at that at a later time if needed. It would just be something cool to take a look at as we're talking about it.
One more thing I kind of thought of when it comes to talking to animals, I mean, obviously would be Dr. Dolittle, right? And they did just do a remake of Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy.
Nice.
But funny thing about Dr. Dolittle, if you watch the old one actually has Mothra in it, which would tie into Godzilla, because Mothra's in Godzilla. And we know that there is a huge water monster in a mural in under the underpass too, that shows the jets fighting it.
Nice. See, that's interesting because that could have been a play. Rockstar is always doing, parodies or, little puns and stuff leading to movies and previous movies. So it would be no shock to me if there was, that Dom and the dog issue. I would not be surprised if there was a tie to a movie like Dr. Dolittle. That's something Rockstar would definitely do. And they would love to do a duality, have it tied to a movie, but also to the mystery as well. So if you found stuff that seems like it's directly correlated with the game from that movie, I would maybe take a little closer look at it. You might be onto something. I would not put it past Rockstar. They've done it so many times in the past. There's no reason to believe that that's not something that could be happening yet again. I'm not seeing anything for Dom, unfortunately, but maybe in the future we could take a look at it.
I think it just might be Ego Chaser, but I don't think it's Dom. Maybe it is Dom, but it's not his personal website. Are you sure that he actually has his own website?
I'm pretty sure. I was looking it up one time. I know that you could try starting with Devin Weston.
I remember. I think I remember something like that as well.
Maybe it is just ego chaser, but I could have swore he had one.
Here's the what is this? The adrenaline junkies. See, I'm wondering, you know, there could be shit in here. There's so much stuff. There's so many times I've read these weird websites and found information that's led to like discoveries and stuff. So that's something we need to take a look at again in the future. If you guys want to comment and you guys might know, you know, something that we don't, or the website or something to search that will give us a website, let us know. But let's go ahead and finish this mission off, as there is some, you know, interesting stuff. And then at the end, there's also the mission with Dom at the very end with the dam. And that's very suspicious in my opinion, as well, as basically he does a leap of faith. And the leap of faith is also the 100% objective for getting that mission gold, or 100%ed. And Dom jumps and dies, and does he believe that he's going to die, or does he really think that he's going to go ahead and win that battle between him and nature? I'm gonna go ahead and load up the game, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start that off to show you guys exactly what's going on with that, because that's another strange situation between Dom, the dog, and Franklin. I think that there's a reason why Franklin's the one that's picked. We were talking about peyotes. Franklin is the one that has Chop, right? Now, Chop is a playable character sometimes in the game, as me and Illuminati just did that Missing Links video the other day, and we showed in the movie, in the Mission Predator, we could take control of Chop and see his scents. As a peyote, we were able to see the actual scent that he's chasing of these guys that he's going after. So, with the special power, okay, leading to every character, and now including Chop, you know, we have a special power with Michael with the shooting, special power with Trevor with the rage, we have a special power with Franklin with the driving, and now when we control Chop, we can also see his special ability is actually physically seeing the scent. Now, does that play into the whole entire aspect of us being able to talk to this dog in different locations and missions? Does this mean something? Is there a connection between, you know, Franklin having a dog, which is Chop, which has special powers, and now Franklin seems to understand dog talk and other missions, which seem to be almost foreshadowing the next few steps of the mission, like Dom in a tree, and also understanding the language of an animal? Is that supposed to be telling us that Franklin should be eating a certain peyote at a certain place? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it exactly telling us? Because I feel like it's telling us something. Right. You know what I mean? I think it's at least giving us clues of what we can trial and error. It's at least pointing us in a direction.
As far as the scent trails go, I thought that was a great pickup. And, you know, most people, when they play the game, they probably didn't notice it. And to be honest, I may have noticed it, but just written it off and didn't think anything of it. But, you know, when Illuminati brought it to my attention, it really started making sense. And it's like, hey, if Chop has that, do these other animals that we can access through peyote, do they also have that? And if so, what are they smelling out?
Right. Right.
So definitely something to consider as far as the peyote goes.
Do you think, Illuminati? Do you think that it's down to Franklin? Is there enough evidence, in your opinion, pointing to Franklin that we need to use the peyote as him? Is he going to be the one that's going to get this golden peyote, or the, you know, because we do know that Franklin's tied to the Bigfoot mission. So is this all Franklin's deal, or do you think these other characters might be involved as well, like Franklin and Michael?
Yeah, I'm still unsure about that, honestly. It does really, there's so many links with Franklin and animals. It really could be. And he does get some crazy haircuts too that are pretty trippy there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his aunt's house, she does have a lot of references to animals in her house, stuff like that. Him talking to animals.
A lot of interesting references there.
And there is talk about spirit animals too, so maybe this dog could be Franklin's spirit animal.
That's a really good point as well. I brought up a while ago a video on it was a connection to the Fight Club movie, and I thought it was a really good tie. And one thing in Fight Club, you know, he has a spirit animal. She talks about the spirit animals in the meetings, and Tyler Durden's spirit animal was a penguin, and it looks at him in an ice cave, and it says slide, and it jumps down and slides down this ice ramp, right? And you know, that is a good tie, because it does connect with other leads as well, like how I just brought up the lead with the Fight Club. So I'm wondering if there is a connection. That was the last time, by the way, what I just showed, that was the last time that we ever see that dog again, as he runs away saying woof, just woof, woof, woof. But Franklin seems to understand that he's really telling him that this guy's about to jump off and kill himself. So we come over here, and Dom is just acting like a fool as he's ready to jump off the dam. And this is the craziest part. Check this part out. This part is absolutely insane. I don't understand what he means on this. Hey man, I ain't too sure about this one. Man, that motherfucking dog was a real deal. Frank, this guy says, what dog? And then he says, I don't know how to explain it, man. Well, it's your call. Well, it's your call. What does that mean? This guy is jumping. That whole part doesn't make sense to me. Okay? And this is the only part that's saved in the dialogue. Look at how strange that is as well. Fuck you, gravity. Fuck you. All in the mind. Okay? We were just talking about Fight Club, which is I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone that hasn't seen it, but it's All in the Mind is a good way to say that movie and to sum it up, all right? But anyway, gravity is a huge clue. I'm actually working on something with gravity in this game. I'll be coming out with that in a little while. It's a really good clue, trust me, guys. Gravity is a huge friggin' clue. And the reason why I believe that this is very odd is that this dialogue completely got shortened. They took out half of what just was said, and they left us 3 lines. Fuck you, gravity, fuck you. Man, what the hell is he doing? All in the mind. What's that all about? I mean, that's very odd. And why did he say, it's your call? Man, it's your call, and then jumps off. What is he talking about? He's telling Franklin it's your call. How is this Franklin's call? He's doing this on his own. He's jumping off, not even giving Franklin a chance to answer him on that. I just don't get it, man. I think there's something between the lines that maybe I'm not seeing fully, that I really felt like this was a good cold case to go over, because we need more people to really help think about what's going on here, because I think that there's answers right before our eyes that we're just not grasping on. So that's why I needed the help of you guys on the video as well.
I think one thing that's important to look at too is the locations that we'll find Dom in, and the locations that like will end certain missions on. I mean, you know, we have Mount Chiliad, we have Maze Bank, we have the dam that you meet up with him at, and the dam is still one. You know, for me, that's one of those things. It's like what's going. It's such a big place that they dedicated, you know, a whole portion of the map to, that is pretty much insignificant for the most part. And yet Dom is there, and he happens to be at other places of interest. So it just kind of raises some questions, at least for me, as far as, you know, maybe that's something we should also look at, is the locations that he's at.
Exactly. And you know what else? Right here next to Franklin, there's not only an X on the ground over there, but right next to Franklin, when you get control of him after watching Dom do that, are those 2 boxes. And those 2 boxes that I was just standing next to had the eagle on it. It's the same eagle that is on the Space Docker's wings. You can see the print of that eagle on the wings from the United States Postal Stamp. So it's kind of odd that they put those placements of items there as well. I think there's a lot of things connecting Franklin and like the supernatural, if you will, with the whole, you know, mind, you know, reading. Is he reading someone's mind, basically? Is that what's going on? Because maybe that dog isn't even there. As you can see, Dom doesn't know what Franklin's talking about when Franklin's like, man, that's a cool-ass dog or kick-ass dog that you have. Dom is like, what dog? And then when Franklin's like, the dog that's right here, and he looks around and there's no dog, you know, exactly what is happening. What is Rockstar saying? Is Rockstar saying that there is, you know, like a god aspect to this? Does Franklin have some kind of telekinesis or some kind of crazy spiritual shit going on? Like Illuminati, you mentioned spirit animals. Maybe there's something going on that we just don't understand. Or maybe it is just literally pointing us in the direction of hey, you guys got to start using the peyotes. They're involved in the game. We brought them with next gen, and nobody seems to want to utilize those. There's something that you're going to be able to see, and then you know, if anything, that could be a big reason to think that that's accurate with the whole Bigfoot thing. I'm going to bring it up again. We find a golden peyote, something that only shows up with the right daytime weather, all of that, and then you get it. And it's also used to find another Easter egg with the beast. And if you think about it, guys, that's very odd that you can hear the howls of the beast only with Bigfoot. So there is definitely attributes to each animal that we control so far that we, you know, that we're able to then go further and progress with. So I think that there's more to the peyotes. I think that's part of what the game is trying to show us. And since it's linked to the murals with the mission and the dialogue with, it's not the destination but it's the journey, linking up to the Sinner's Passage mural in the city, which is also linked up to the Mount Chiliad mural, you know, by being inline on the map at least. Okay, so I think that there's ties to the peyotes, to the murals, which means the peyotes are definitely one of the key points of accessing the answer. I do believe that is part of the theme here, and I think that it's just is going to take a lot of people using different trials and errors, because we need to know what character, right, at what 27th locations. We got 27 locations of peyotes, and they each spawn a different animal there. You know, all of the same type. Like if they're underwater animals, it's gonna be one of the underwater animals. If it's a flying animal, it's gonna be one of the flying animals. But you're still gonna get a variation of those peyotes at each 27 locations. So there's, you know, 27 times however many spawns happen at those locations. You know what I mean? So you got a big range of animal to pick from, and then you got to pick which character to eat that peyote with, and maybe even what day of the week and what weather, and maybe even 100% or not. There's a lot of variables to consider, and it's going to be either finding the right clues that are going to give us those answers or trial and error, and we need the numbers to make that a significant battle. We can't just do it with 4 people. We need everybody on that shit, and there's no other way to do that except for to try to really show that it is definitely the truth, and that is what we need to do. And I do believe that they are a big part in this mystery, or at least a big Easter egg.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the comment on
it's all the different variables that make it. It's how you play the game. You know, you can beat the game, but you know, there's certain different things that you can access by only, like you said, Danny, certain days and certain weathers, and that's how you can activate that. So you know, there's definitely more to come as far as that's concerned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to comment on some of that Dom mission, if you replay the one before that, you know, it's he gets extremely irate, and with each time Franklin, you know, beats him, he seems to get, you know, more and more angry about it all. It could be part of that, and just basically saying, hey, you're better than me, it's, you know, you got to take over me now.
You know what, and that makes sense with the whole ego chaser, right? Because that's affecting his ego. That's why he gets mad. That's why Dom gets pissed off.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it ties to the whole other aspect with, you know, aliens and stuff like that. We brought up in the Missing Link video, Illuminati, the whole entire wolf was segregated and rearranged to otherworldly life forms, right? And that's kind of funny because, like what Cairo says, when Dom says, meet me on top of the maze bank with the higher beings, or whatever he says, that's kind of making us think of, like, what he said, like Independence Day or an Easter egg like that. But we do know that it's at least talking about aliens, and there's so many clues that are kind of connecting all these things together. It's just exactly how and if we can do it correctly. So I just would love to get everyone's opinion on everything that we're talking about today, because I think with the right trials and errors we can do this.
Yeah, and one thing about the wolf that really does kind of hit home with me in a way, thinking about things, is in Solomon's office, you have the head of an alien, right, with a wolf coming out of his mouth. I mean, it's I don't know. It's basically saying otherworldly life form to me, you know, just trying to help you spell it out, but in a visual way.
Exactly. There might be one way, guys, to narrow this down and make it a little bit easier on us. As you notice, you can take each character to the one of the 27 locations to spawn as a peyote, and you'll notice that there's certain characters that like to be certain animals, and then certain characters that don't like to be certain animals. So that might be a way to narrow down our testings, right? Like, I think that Michael, well, obviously he loves to be a shark. It's like certain sharks, like the apex predator. He goes on about when it's the bull shark. He loves it. I think that Franklin likes to be certain dogs, like the pit bull, like Chop. He loves it. But then there's certain animals that they don't like. Like, you can obviously read the dialogue or hear it, and they just hate it. They're like, why am I this animal? This sucks. I don't want to be this. I'm a shitty little this, or whatever the animals are. I don't want to say certain ones and be wrong on my examples. But basically, there's certain animals that they like to be, and there's certain animals that they don't like to be. And if anything, I think that that could be a guideline or a way to look at who to try shit out with what peyote, because obviously you don't want to try to solve something with an animal that they don't want to be. I think that's Rockstar's way of showing us, hey, that one, you know, that doesn't connect with each other. So there's a little bit of you know, information if you want to take it.
I think there's an interesting connection as far as the dialogue's concerned, is that they have like this notion, like this preconceived notion that when they take the peyote, they know they're changing into an animal. It's not just something that they found and then ate and then they're tripping out. You know, they're like, oh man, like I didn't, you know, almost like I didn't get it this time. Like, let's try again. Let's see what I get next time.
Right.
So I think that's interesting that they have that kind of mentality, and then they show the dialogue that follows through with that.
Right. It is almost like that. Like, oh man, like I don't want to. Yeah, they're almost like they knew what they were getting themselves into. And the thing is,
right. So judging by the reactions, can we say, is it safe to say that, oh, like, okay, like this character really enjoys this animal. What do we do with the character? Do we look for the scent trails? Is there something we can follow it there? What are the connections can we make? And you know, I really wish we had the chat, because I know there's some great hunters in the chat right now that can really give some great suggestions.
I know, I'm pretty bummed about the chat issue myself. That's one of the reasons why I was excited about the cold case file episodes, is I wanted to bring in the community and talk about a lot of what's going on with the chat, and it sucks that that's not working right now. Guys, don't worry, I will figure this out and find out why this isn't working right. But you know, another good point to make, I made this point in the missing links video with Illuminati the other day, but I'm going to make it again since we're on the topic. You have Rockstar kind of like giving us another nudge with the peyotes, if you ask me. You have the drugs, right, that were in the game with day one. You have Michael able to smoke weed. You know, Franklin is able to smoke weed as well. Trevor actually sniffs gas at his house, and you know, sometimes he'll switch to him and he'll be smoking meth. But the thing is, you smoke the drug or whatever, and like, say Trevor, he sniffs the gas, and then he wakes up in a new location and everything, and it all goes trippy. Now, maybe that was something that we should have utilized with that. I know there's one point in time where Franklin smokes the weed, and he's like, A, B, B, A. Am I A or am I B? Or maybe I'm a C, or whatever he says, and it's kind of like, you know, it's weird, and people have even said and theorized that maybe that is the orders of what heists to do. Like, maybe we should do the easy or the hard version of that heist, you know, the A or the B. And people have wondered if maybe that was like forecasting what we should do for the heist. Now, if that kind of theory idea is correct, then maybe the drugs do correlate with certain answers or directions by taking them, maybe giving us clues on where to go. Trevor wakes up at a certain location. Maybe that location's a relevant location for a clue or a trigger or an activation of something. And maybe we didn't hit the nail on the head. Maybe we didn't do enough with that. And Rockstar kind of said, hey, you need to alter your minds, guys. You didn't figure it out. So here's another friggin' clue with the next gen. You can now alter your minds again and turn into peyotes. So, you know, go back and smoke that weed. Maybe you'll figure something out. Or go back and huff that gas. Maybe there's still something that we missed. Or maybe they're just saying that there's clues that we missed by not doing that. And they're going to go ahead and further the Easter egg and complete it more with the peyotes, as they've, you know, added 2 Easter eggs in the past. So it wouldn't be surprising to see it happen again. I think that there's definitely a reason why we were able to alter our minds before, and now we can do it again with peyotes. And since there's no obvious reason for the peyotes to even be in this game, since online doesn't even have animals, I think that there's definitely a single player reward for doing something right with the right day of the week or whatever. I think there's something else out there. I think that whole talk of that monkey peyote and another golden peyote being out there, I think that there's some substance to it. There's some truth to it, because why else the hell is this in the game? You know, I think there's got to be more, and I really believe in how accurate, you know, there's like I brought up with the whole sonar and the frequency with the orcas. Each animal has their own attributes, and like I mentioned with the chop thing and everything, they also have their own abilities. Like Chop can see senses, and you know, the orcas can pull out, you know, that frequency. So what animals by what characters are needed, and what abilities need to be done by each one of those? There's so many variables. I know it sounds like a fucking pit hole that you're never gonna get out of, but I think that the clues, if like read into accurately, can definitely lead to a narrowing of the options, honestly.
Yeah, and you know, interesting. You know, when you start thinking about special abilities and all the references to Greek gods, all the way from like the Minotaur to even Dionysus, right? But you know, gods would, you know, come down as animals. They could shapeshift into animals. We know we have special abilities. Franklin seems to fit Hermes really well to me. He's considered the god of the roadways and whatnot.
We do have that Hermes vehicle, right? That was added in the game.
Yeah. But there's even a religion about peyote, and it's peyotism. And it teaches, you know, Indian traditions, Native American traditions, along with, say, the fundamental Christianity, right? So there's that one sign at the church also, you know, putting the fun back in fundamental Christianity. So there could be something along with some of that too when it comes to
that's awesome. So you mean to tell me that there's a whole religion that's called peyotism, and they even hinted in the game with fun and fundamentally. Is that something that's in the game?
Yeah. It's Native American religion. It's part of the Native American church, and they can legally eat peyote. And you know, there's all sorts of things about shamans and you know, shape shifting when it comes to some of, you know, the mind altering religions and stuff like that. So there's a lot that could be said for a lot of this.
Very, very interesting.
Right, it's just like Rastafarians, right? Like they have their, they can smoke their herb, peyotism. They can eat their cacti.
Yeah.
Right. There's so much
religions.
There's so much tied to all of this, and I think that peyotes are definitely something that we see as a reoccurring connection as we look at all these different aspects of the game. Actually, I just drove right past a location that's a perfect place to point out, as well as we're talking about all these connections. Right over here, guys. I know I've brought this up before, but I mean, there's so many videos and there's so many things, it's hard to remember which ones, and I'll just go ahead and show you guys once again in case you missed it or you forgot about it, because this is a cold case file, so we do want to bring up things that have been there before. So if you look over here, I'll go ahead and point this out on the map so you can see it. So this location, and Little Seal, isn't that funny? Little Soul, you know, spirit animal, soul. Anyway, if you take a look over here, you got Thor's toys, right? And you got this little turtle guy with a T on his belt. Could that be for Trevor as well? Who knows? But he's got a lightning bolt on a hammer, and we got the lightning bolts on the mural. And you know, again, tying into the whole Greek mythology. You got the arrows, sneaky. You know, footwear. Is that a hint to like the hippie camp? You know, with the hippie feet over by that place in by Hollywood Boulevard. And then over here, take a look at this. You got a poster for Meltdown, right? But not the movie Meltdown. It's more of a ice planet, which I believe ties to mythology as well, but also ties to Uranus, because isn't Uranus a blue planet?
Yeah, Uranus is a blue planet, but Pluto would be the ice planet. Yeah, it's way out there. But this could also, I mean, I have to say, this could also tie in a little bit with Men in Black with the jewelry, because there's that cat that has his name Orion, right? And it's got a planet on his collar.
Nice. And you know what? Talking about collars, Chop is the one with the golden collar. If you go ahead and do the app, the iFruit app, with the Chop the Dog game. So there's a lot of stuff, guys. And I really think that there's big connections directly to the mural. The one thing that we do have that is our guide for understanding and solving the Chiliad mystery, the one unsolved mystery that is still in this game that we do know about. And I'm telling you, if all this stuff is connected, and we know for sure because there's too many, there's just too many signs and too many things going on. I mean, that's something that we should definitely focus our time on, stuff that we know is going to definitely be an answer in some way, shape, or form. So whenever you get stuck, and I know there's times where you get frustrated, it happens to all of us, but we at least have some stuff that we know has to be involved. So at least we have that to hold on to for future progress in hunts.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the iFruit app, dude. That's a great, because there's so many different ways to look at this mystery and get clues. You bring up Thor, talk about Greek mythology, and you show that turtle with the hammer, and then you think about the on Rockstar's website when they released the that backdrop, like the computer screen backgrounds. There was one with Lester depicted holding a hammer, like Thor's hammer.
Right, yes.
So it's there's so many different connections, and it's not just in the game, guys. It goes beyond the game per se, in a way of like, check out the social club. If you have an online account, you have a social club account. Just go on there. Just take a look at it, see what you can find. Check out the iFruit app. There's so many different ways of seeing little tidbits and clues that Rockstar kind of gives to us, and it's not just in this game. It's also out of extensions of this game. And I'm so glad that you brought up this cold case file series, so we can really go back to it instead of people saying, oh well, we already looked at that, and that's this, and this is that. Like, there's nothing there, when really, in fact, there's so much more when we all put our heads together and collectively hunt.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up that the situation with the iFruit, I mean, not the iFruit app, but the iFruit app. There's a lot of stuff in there, guys. There's a manual in there for GTA. There's a lot of stuff that we could be looking at that gives us a different perspective of things, and actually a lot of stuff jumps out as clues, like Kyro says. I was actually thinking about even doing a video going over some of the iFruit app stuff. I think that my phone considers the iFruit app as a game, and if it does, I can broadcast right from that. So I'll look more into that, and if I can, I'll go ahead and do that for you guys. We'll go over the iFruit app in some detail and look a little bit closer at it. So that's also a thing that is of good interest, in my opinion. I want to go ahead and do that sometime soon. If I can, I'll look into it and let you guys know. But there's locations of the peyote plants as well that we have to take a look at. Like, this one's over at a baseball diamond, right? The one thing about that sign and the jewelry, we were talking about Chop's collar and everything. Well, also, it said diamonds on there, and this is a baseball diamond, and we know that baseball bat is a big thing with GTA in general. All the GTAs, it seems like the first weapon in almost every single GTA that you get is a friggin' baseball bat, and for some reason, there's a lot tied to the whole entire mystery of it all. Like, what's up with the baseball shit, right? And
or the diamond aspect. Diamonds are for Trevor, that mission.
Yeah, and that has to do with aliens as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and running the bases, you got to run the bases in the right order.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. There's a lot to talk about, guys. There's a lot of stuff. I'm so sorry about the chat. I really wish that was up. I don't know what is going on. I'm going to see if I maybe made a mistake with the settings on YouTube, or I maybe accidentally took it down or something. But hopefully you guys come back, the ones that are here live with us, come back after this is a process as a video and not a live stream, and put your opinions and theories in the comments, as I would love to see what you guys have to say about this. And maybe next week, next Sunday, for our next episode of the Cold Case Files, maybe we'll do a little recap if we have some good comments and information from you, and maybe talk about a little bit of what we have from today and what you guys maybe said, and if there's any progression or any good theories from it. And I don't know, I think there's a lot to go on, but I think we brought up a lot of good stuff for today. Do you guys have any last final words you want to bring up before we go ahead and end out this session?
I just want to say thanks for having me on the channel. I think this is a great series, and for everyone listening, I know everyone in the chat right now, Music Videos chat, we got a great group of hunters in there, so just keep throwing out those ideas, guys, and get yourself in on this show. Get yourself in on the community and what we're doing, and looking forward to hunting with you guys.
Absolutely. Illuminati, you have anything else you want to say, man?
Nah, not right now, man.
Yeah, man, a lot of good stuff, though, today. You guys really had a lot of great stuff to say. And like KYROS just said with the communities, guys, every week for the Cold Case Files, I do. And that's why I was saying I was so bummed with the chat not working, because I want to involve the community more with the chat and with the community with these Cold Case Files. Every week, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do these Cold Case Files. Now, I do want to bring in, like we've been doing, a community member every single week on the show. Like this week we have KYROS and Illuminati. We did it last week. I want to do it next week as well. So next week will be done from the PlayStation, and we go back and forth. PlayStation, then Xbox, PlayStation, then Xbox. So for the PlayStation, if you want to get on the show and you think that you have some good stuff to say, and you have you know, a lot of good stuff, theories and everything, if you're a great hunter, which you probably are if you're watching, definitely don't forget to sign up for the community on the PS4, Solving the Chiliad Mystery. Leave your information in there, all your theories, opinions, finds, and as I skim through that, I will cherry pick a hunter for that week to go ahead and join me on the channel. So go ahead, guys, and don't forget to sign up and do that, as I am going to be needing somebody for next week's episode on the PlayStation, and then the following week on the Xbox. And if you're on the Xbox, the club that you want to join is Chiliad Mystery. So Xbox's club is Chiliad Mystery, PlayStation's community is Solving the Chiliad Mystery. Hopefully you guys all join up and become a part of those clubs and communities. Thank you guys for joining the channel. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed the video. Once again, a big thank you and shout out to KYROS Power and Illuminati. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, sir. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, guys. Alright, for all you guys watching, thanks for joining.
Yeah, big shout out to the chat.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, take it easy. Ta-ta. Woof woof. And always. Peace.